Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial on how to make an anime ocean. Technically, it's not hard, but it depends heavily on how well your PC can handle the resolution of the ocean. Before we start, we have to change some things to make it stylized. We go to the render tab here, enable bloom, screen space reflection, go to color management and change the view transform from filmic to standard. You can use curves and make the contrast a little lower. And we also have to enable Node Wrangler add-on. So we can go to Edit, Preferences, in the add-ons here, search up Node Wrangler, and then enable it. Go to the passes, enable emission, environment, bloom, and shadow. And then we have to click the point light here, go to the properties tab and for the lights, and turn it from point to sun, make it 4.490. You can now click the default cube and then go to the modifier tab. You can now add a modifier and then click ocean. Now we can start making our source of ocean. From the timeline here, we will turn this from timeline to a shader editor. Now, if we play the animation here, you can see it's not moving. That's because of the time here. It's not animated. Rather than using keyframe to animate it, we will be using some kind of automatic animation by using frame. So if you click here, hashtag frame 50, without using a keyframe, if you play your animation, it is moving. From here on the time, you can make the ocean flow faster if you use a lower number. So from 50, we can use 10. You can actually see it's way faster. Now, we will be using 25 for this tutorial. Not too fast and not too slow. Just a normal type of ocean. And then, we will put the size a little bit down. What you have here is a spatial size. Basically, what this does is it controls the intensity of the waves. If you have a lower number, you can see that the waves is very strong. And if you have a higher number, the waves are calm. But we will not be using or messing with the spatial size for now. Actually, change this to 2. Now, we can now start with the shading of our ocean. We will be using a basic toon shader. You can delete the principled BSDF, search up diffuse, then shader to RGB, then a color ramp. Connect the BSDF to shader, connect the color to the factor and the color to the surface. If you go to the tab here, the render tab, and change this from linear to constant, and then drag this down, you can see we are starting to get some basic toon shader. But it looks not too good. That's because in our modifier tab, in our ocean modifier tab, you can see that it's not, the resolution here is low. If we were to make this 25, you can see here we have a better type of shading here just by using a basic tone shader. And if you play it, you might have a laggy PC, but you will get better results with a higher resolution. As you can see here. Now, I recommend 25 for anime styled ocean, but just for preview, we will tone it back to 20. But the result will be 25. Anyway, we'll now start with the shading. If you click the second color here and then click this white bottom color, you can change the color of the ocean. So you can make it somewhere like bluish color and then copy the color of the color that you just changed. So the black color over here, change it, copy the same color and then make it a little darker for shadows. So you can see here if we play, we now have a good looking ocean style anime. We can even add a third color here. We can make this one 1.2 and you can kind of see a brighter color here. We have to add a node here that so that we can easily control the colors. So if you hold Shift A and search up HSV, hue saturation value, you can change the saturation or the value or the hue of your ocean. Put the value from 1 to 2. That should give you some kind of a better ocean look. Now with that done, we will merge a texture. We will merge this with a texture. To do that, we need a noise texture. Color ramp. Then connect the color to the factor. Change this from linear to constant. And then hold Ctrl T for the noise texture. This will only work if you have the Node Wrangler add-on on. So if you hold Ctrl Shift here, and then drag this down, you can kind of see that we have some noise texture. Make the scale to 2.5. The detail up, and a little bit of a roughness. If you put the roughness too high, it will look some kind of realistic water. So don't put it up too high. You can do 0.8 there. And then we want to mix these two. We want to mix these two. To do that, we have to add a mix shader, normal type of mix. Change it from mix to add. So we will add the color, put the and then connect the color to the bottom layer. Now you can see here that we've managed to mix two textures. If we play the ocean, you can see it, the noise is stuck to one place. That's because the noise is not animated at the same time that the ocean is animated. So to fix the problem, we have to go to the noise texture here, change it from 3D to 4D. Now you have a better control over the location of the noise. So you have this new option here called W. This basically makes it so you can randomize the location of the noise. So if this is 25 frame slash 25, just add 10. So that's 25 over here, hashtag frame slash 35. You can see that this one is working. It's now animated at the same time the ocean is animated. Of course, you can control how many you want using the color ramp. So that's up to you. Then we can also control how strong the texture will be. So I'll put this a little down like that. Next, we will now have to add reflection on our ocean. To do this, we will use something called a glossy BSDF. If you hold Control Shift and select the glossy, you can see that it is a reflection type of node. And you can also do this in the same way you set up the toon shader. So shader to RGB, then a color ramp. Turn this from linear to constant. And as you can see, we have some kind of reflection here. This also depends on your resolution. So if you have a high resolution, you will end up with a better kind of reflection. Then of course you can control it here. You can also mess with the roughness on how rough you want your reflection texture to be. Once you're done with the glossy setup, toon glossy setup, we will duplicate this add texture here or the add shader and then connect the color and merge it with the second add shader that we added. So hold Control Shift to the use saturation value. And as you can see, our ocean now has a reflection. Now the thing about this one is basically the reflection will work on where you are looking at it from. So if the camera is looking at it from this way, you can see that there's no reflection. But if you look at it from an angle where the direction of the sun is looking at, you can see here that there is definitely some reflection. Of course, you can control how strong the reflection you want to be. Completely up to you. But I'll keep it like 0.4 or maybe a little lower, maybe zero point 0.3. Then you can mess with the roughness here, how strong you want the reflection to be. With that done, If you play it, as you can see, it's working perfectly fine. We can still make this look better. So what we can do now is we will add some kind of white outlines to make it look like actual anime. So in the add node here, you can duplicate it again. And this time put the factor up to 1. We will now create a new node called layer weight and color ramp. Connect the facing to the factor and change the color ramp from linear to constant. Hold Control Shift to the color, and then the moment you drag down, you can kind of see that there are some reflection or outline reflection for the ocean. And then we want to merge this with our texture here. Simply you can put the color here, connect them together, hold Control Shift to the hue saturation value, and then you can see that we merged the outline of the water. You can see it from here. You can again mess with the reflection if you wish. Then look at the ocean. You can see that we now have some kind of anime styled ocean. Now if you make this 25, we will now have better results. But of course, way laggier. The good thing about the layer weight is if you have this alone, it does not work like the glossy BSDF, where it has to depend on the location of the sun. The layer weight acts independently from the sun. So whether you look at it from different angle, you will still see some outline, white outline, from whichever angle you are looking at it from. So that's a good one. If you want to make the outline, the white outline stronger, you can always come back here and change the value from 1 to 2 or even higher. If you have the bloom on, you will start to see some kind of bloom, light colored, shiny effect here. But again, I'll keep it at half, 2.5, or maybe even 1 is good. Now for the background, or actually, let's organize this first. Now we will now mess with the background. So change this from object here to the world. And let me demonstrate something here. So basically, this will probably help. But if you have an object here and you change the background, chances are they're also gonna be affected, and we kind of don't want that. One way to do this is you can get a mix shader, duplicate the background, and get a light path, and then select the is camera ray to the factor of the mix shader so that the background can independently work without affecting the object in your scene. You can get a basic RGB here and then get a hue saturation value. Get something like colorful blue here. And then we will add a gradient texture and merge it. So Shift A, CM, multiply, and then gradient, Control T, and then color ramp. Change the rotation prof Y to 90. Put it back there. Then make this a little lighter. Then mess with the rotation. So the sun is that way. Then it should the sky should be almost something like this. With a little lighter color here. There. That's pretty much it for the tutorial of the anime ocean. If you want to see more, then I'll probably make more tutorials about this. Go to compositing and use nodes and then control shift render layers. Make this lower. Now, you have these things here, these render passes, and we can make them look better. For our bloom color here, we want to merge the image and the bloom color. One way to do that is add the mix nodes in the compositing tab and then control shift. You can do add, put connect the bloom color to the second mix. And if you do that here, okay, so we're not seeing any changes. We can use HSV and then put the value up to like 5. And then we can mess with the color of the ocean. That basically makes it quite shiny from the bloom color here. We can see here, okay, so the sky is kind of bright now. We can duplicate this and add subtract or make it subtract. So the ENV is the sky. We can connect the ENV there. And then Make the sky darker a little bit. Same thing like that. And then what you can now do is make this look better. So you can get a vignette here. You can do box mask and then blur. So if we go here, make this lower. Then see here in the blur, we can make this 300, 300. You can duplicate this, make this multiply, connect them together. You can see we now have vignette here. And then you can add some kind of a some kind of lens distortion here. So you can add lens. Dispersion here, up to you, but don't make it like too intense. Maybe 0.01 is good. And then you can always change the color or the color grading by using color balance. And then you can adjust the color of the things here. Uh, just the highlight. A little higher. You can also use anti-aliasing. It's actually an option, but I guess if you want like better edges, I'm not too sure if it. Yeah, I guess it changes some things, but that's just if you want like better edges. Then you can add anti-aliasing. Before the vignette here, we can add some textures, like noise textures. So you can go back here to the texture properties. You can click new, change it from clouds, make it color, change it from grayscale to color. You can add this, duplicate, turn this from subtract to overlay. You can get texture and then click texture, put the color in. So you can see kind of see here. We have this kind of texture here and we can make it a little lower. So I kind of use the same technique on my other texture or on my other renders. So we went from this to this. And that's how you make an anime style water ocean. You're pretty much done. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The whole tutorial on how to make anime ocean.